The White House now trying to highlight its action, pointing out tax policies designed to help middle-class families and small business. The vice president right now is at a small business in the D.C. area. He's emphasizing what the administration calls tax cuts for 95% of working families. And yet headlines on a major real estate slump, unemployment, lackluster GDP numbers, well, they definitely don't help the Democrats trying to stay in power. Ari Fleischer was press secretary for George W. Bush, now the president of Ari Fleischer Communications. When you're looking at this, the economic headlines here, Howard Dean is pointing out, look, Republicans got us into it, but is that just irrelevant at this point because the Democrats aren't getting us out of it?
That's exactly right. I mean, the president inherited a very bad economy from President Bush, but then he made it worse. And I think what the public is saying now, all the spending, all the debt, it's adding up too much, we're tired of it, and it's not working, is the fundamental problem the Democrats have heading into the November election.
Okay, so we're looking here at the primaries and how some of this economic news plays into the primary results that we got. You have incumbents keeping their jobs, both Democrats and Republicans here, Meek in Florida, McCain in Arizona. Is it an indication that no matter what happens on the economy that the incumbents could have still the upper hand in the November election?
Because there's been one overarching trend in all the primaries, and now we're almost done with the whole primary season, and that's the turnout trend, more than the incumbent versus the challenger trend. Turnout has been massive on the Republican side. To give you numbers, in 2006, there were 3 million more Democrats who turned out in the primary season than Republicans. Democrats in 2006 went on to win the House and the Senate. Mirror opposite this year. 3 million more Republicans have turned out in the 2010 primaries than Democrats. It's a sign of where the enthusiasm lies among the electorate. That's a big warning sign for Democrats. That's why they're likely to lose many, many seats.
Yeah, and I hear from hardcore Democrats, and they don't like being called, they don't like the fact that people won't show up as being a sign that there are unenthusiastic voters, but that's the way the political analysts shape it up to be. Let me ask you about, in Alaska, we're still waiting to hear about Murkowski, the incumbent there. It would be a huge upset if she loses, but Sarah Palin backed Murkowski's opponent, Joe Miller. We saw him there briefly. What does it say about the political influence that Palin wields with voters?
Palin's won some and she's lost some. Now, in Alaska, where she has much more authority and respect, this is an amazing coup, nevertheless, because everybody I talked to in Washington thought that Murkowski was on her way to being renominated. And Palin did play a role in this, so she clearly does have influence, especially in the state of Alaska. In the lower 48, it's a very different story.
All right. Ari, I want to turn tables a little bit here onto another issue, because this issue is popping up in the political campaigns. You have the mosque at Ground Zero influencing even what happens, say, in Nevada. Right now, we're watching more than 40 different groups gathering in New York, talking about the efforts to build this Islamic community center and mosque there near Ground Zero. But Harry Reid and the president have both weighed in on this, and DNC chair Tim Kaine found himself having to answer questions about their different stances. This morning, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie weighed in on Morning Joe. Let me play it.
Everybody turned this thing into a political football. Everybody was looking to position it for political advantage.
Yeah.
And that's not the way you bring people together.
Do you think that your former boss, George W. Bush, could help calm this emotional battle over the mosque? Because, I mean, after all, his advisor, Karen Hughes, traveled with the imam in question. The president had said, President Bush had said at the time, that this war on terror is a battle against extremists, not Muslims. Should he weigh in?
I haven't talked to him about that, and he has run a post-presidency where he has chosen not to weigh in on whatever the current hot issues of the day are. I think he's trying to give the current office holders, including President Obama, space and respect to do their job. From where I sit, I think we all have to be extraordinarily sensitive about the rights of religion and our fellow Muslims to be able to practice their religion in peace and openness. The issue here, though, is the particular sensitivities of Ground Zero and its immediate neighborhood. If I were Muslim, I would say let's move the site a few blocks away. Let's find a place in Manhattan where we can reach agreement with everybody who's concerned about Ground Zero. And I would hope also that people who aren't Muslim are very respectful of the rights of our fellow Americans to worship in peace. But that Muslim mosque at that place, wrong place, and I hope an agreement can be reached that's respectful for everybody's rights, though.
Ari Fleischer, it's good to talk to you today. I hope you'll come back soon.
Thanks, Contessa.